75 years ago, these remote islands were the front lines of a world at war. Here, on sun-baked runways carved from jungle and coral, young airmen climbed into metal birds, their engines roaring to life as they prepared for missions that would shape the fate of nations. These airfields scattered across the Pacific were launchpads for heroes, ordinary men thrust into extraordinary circumstances, fighting for freedom in a conflict that spanned continents and oceans. Now, decades later, these once bustling hubs of activity lie silent and forgotten. Nature has crept back, vines and trees weaving through cracked concrete as if trying to erase the scars of war. Yet beneath the quiet, a sense of history lingers, echoes of the past that refuse to fade. And as the world's attention shifts once more to the Pacific, these ghostly runways begin to stir, awakened by the shadow of a new and uncertain threat. Today, the balance of power in the Pacific is shifting. China's rapidly expanding missile arsenal now threatens America's super bases, strategic outposts like Guam and Okinawa that have long served as the backbone of U.S. military presence in the region. With the push of a button, these bases could be targeted in a devastating first strike, their runways cratered, their aircraft destroyed before they ever leave the ground. The Pentagon sees the danger clearly, a digital-age Pearl Harbor, where the opening shots of a new conflict could cripple American forces in minutes. Military planners race to anticipate the unthinkable, running simulations and war games that reveal just how vulnerable these massive, centralized bases have become in the face of modern precision weaponry. The question looms large. How do you fight an enemy who can strike first and strike hard, crippling your forces before you even have a chance to respond? The old playbook no longer works. The U.S. must adapt, rethinking its entire approach to warfare in the Pacific. The answer may lie in the past. The U.S. military is once again eyeing a map dotted with forgotten islands, places that were once vital stepping stones in the island-hopping campaigns of World War II. These remote outposts, long neglected, are now being reconsidered as the key to a new, more resilient strategy. The new plan is simple in concept but complex in execution. Spread out, be nimble, and remain unpredictable. Instead of relying on a few massive bases, the U.S. will disperse its forces across dozens of smaller, harder-to-target locations, making it far more difficult for any adversary to deliver a knockout blow. Across the Pacific, teams of engineers and military planners are working to breathe new life into these abandoned airfields. Crumbling runways are being cleared and reinforced, hangars rebuilt, and modern technology installed. The goal to create a flexible network of agile forward bases, ready to support rapid deployments and keep adversaries guessing. By constantly shifting assets and operations from one location to another, the U.S. aims to make it impossible for an enemy to know where the next strike will come from. This game of cat and mouse is designed to keep American forces one step ahead, turning the vastness of the Pacific from a vulnerability into an advantage. The stakes could not be higher. Any miscalculation, any spark, could ignite a conflict between nuclear-armed superpowers, an outcome with consequences too dire to imagine. The world watches as both sides maneuver for advantage, each move scrutinized, each escalation raising the risk of catastrophe. Every day, the tension builds in the South China Sea and around Taiwan. Warships shadow each other, fighter jets patrol contested skies, and radar screens flicker with the constant movement of military assets. The region has become a chessboard, with every piece in motion and every decision fraught with peril. Both sides are preparing for the worst, arming up and rehearsing for scenarios that just a few years ago seemed unthinkable. The machinery of war grinds forward, even as diplomats search for off-ramps and ways to de-escalate. These dormant airfields, once silent witnesses to history, are being resurrected, transformed into pawns and potential game-changers in a grand chess match for control of the 21st century. Their fate and the fate of the region hangs in the balance. The question remains, are these preparations a necessary deterrent preventing a war that no one wants, or are they, in fact, setting the stage for a conflict that could reshape the world? Only time will tell, as the ghosts of the past cast long shadows over the uncertain future. Picture the year 1944, deep in the Pacific, on the small island of Tinian. Here, in the midst of World War II, thousands of workers toiled day and night, transforming a remote patch of land into the largest airfield the world had ever seen. The roar of bulldozers, the clatter of hammers, and the constant hum of engines filled the air as runways stretched across the island, ready to launch the massive B-29 bombers that would change the course of history. Back then, Tinian was the tip of the spear in the Pacific War effort, a vital hub from which missions were launched that shaped the outcome of the conflict. Today, those same runways lie silent, their concrete cracked and overgrown, the echoes of war replaced by the quiet rustle of wind through tall grass. What was once a symbol of American might is now a relic, a forgotten monument to a different era. Fast forward to the present day, 2025. The world has changed, but the strategic importance of these islands remains. Now, U.S. Air Force engineers walk those same runways, their boots crunching on broken pavement as they survey the land. They're not just reminiscing, they're planning a revival, mapping out how to bring these forgotten airstrips back to life for a new era of uncertainty. And it's not just Tinian. Across the vast Pacific, similar scenes are unfolding. On islands in Palau, Micronesia, and Papua New Guinea, teams are rediscovering and reclaiming old airfields, recognizing their renewed value in a world where geography once again shapes destiny. Bulldozers rumble through the jungle, clearing decades of vines and brush. Engineers inspect the cracked pavement, measuring, planning, and envisioning how these runways can be upgraded to support modern aircraft and logistics. What was once abandoned is now being reborn, piece by piece. The geopolitical landscape has shifted dramatically. The era when American power went unchallenged in the Pacific is over. New threats and rivalries have emerged, and the balance of power is in flux. A new power has risen in the East, challenging the old order and forcing the United States and its allies to rethink their strategies. The Pacific is once again a stage for great power competition, with each side seeking an edge. In response, the U.S. is preparing for the possibility of a major conflict in the Pacific. Cargo planes land on remote runways, troops unload equipment, and island bases buzz with renewed activity. The logistics of war are being rehearsed, just in case history repeats itself. These relics of World War II, once left to decay, have become valuable real estate, strategic assets in a new era of uncertainty. Their location, once chosen for war, is once again their greatest strength. As old airfields come back to life, we're reminded that history has a strange way of repeating itself. The past and present blend together on these forgotten runways, where echoes of old conflicts may soon give way to the sounds of new ones. The shift is due to Chinese missiles. U.S. strategy once relied on massive bases like Anderson and Kadena. But precision missiles make them huge targets. China's rocket force is designed to hit these dots. A surprise missile attack could devastate America's main Pacific bases. This vulnerability forces a rethinking of U.S. strategy. Relying on superbases is a recipe for disaster. The solution: become a harder target, revive old airfields, scatter forces, and be resilient. Dozens of smaller dispersed locations make targeting a nightmare. It's a strategy of survival. To truly grasp the motivations behind America's recent moves in the Pacific, it's essential to first understand the ambitions driving China's leadership. Over the past decade, China's government has made it clear, through both words and actions, that it seeks to reshape the balance of power in the region. The Chinese Communist Party envisions a future where China stands not just as a regional heavyweight, but as a global leader, commanding respect and influence on the world stage. For China, the Pacific Ocean is more than just a vast expanse of water. It's a strategic arena, a sphere of influence where it intends to set the rules. The country's leaders see control over these waters as vital to their national security and economic prosperity, and they are determined to assert their presence. The People's Liberation Army, or PLA, has undergone a dramatic transformation. Once seen as a massive but outdated force, it has now evolved into a high-tech, modern military machine. Billions have been invested in cutting-edge technology, from cyber warfare capabilities to advanced missile systems, making the PLA a formidable opponent. The PLA Navy, in particular, has grown at a staggering pace. By sheer number of ships, it is now the largest navy in the world, patrolling the Pacific with increasing confidence and reach. In the skies, the PLA Air Force showcases its new generation of stealth fighter jets, piloted by highly trained crews. These aircraft are designed to challenge any adversary and project Chinese power far beyond its borders. Meanwhile, the PLA rocket force stands ready, fielding a vast arsenal of missiles capable of targeting American bases and ships throughout the region. This force is a key pillar of China's strategy to deter U.S. intervention. At the heart of China's military focus lies Taiwan. Through frequent drills and displays of force, China signals its intent to reunify the island, aiming for a swift and decisive victory should conflict arise. But China's ambitions don't stop at Taiwan. Across the South and East China Seas, it asserts its power, challenging the sovereignty of neighboring countries and expanding its reach. China has built artificial islands, turning them into military outposts, and regularly conducts joint exercises with Russia, signaling a willingness to confront rivals together. These moves unsettle the region and raise the stakes for all involved. With its growing military might, China is now the dominant power in Asia, using its strength to set new rules and challenge the established order. Its presence is felt from the Indian Ocean to the Pacific Rim. In response, the United States is forced to revisit its old World War II playbook, reactivating bases, forging new alliances, and preparing for a new era of great power competition in the Pacific. The Pentagon's new concept, Agile Combat Employment, ACE. Be quick, unpredictable everywhere and nowhere. Scatter aircraft, personnel, and equipment across a network. Use World War II-era airfields. A squadron might start in Japan, refuel in the Philippines, and move to Palau. Constant movement makes tracking difficult. ACE requires a new mindset: effectiveness over efficiency. Airmen must be multi-skilled. Equipment must be light and mobile. A vast network of pre-positioned supplies is essential. The goal: complicate the enemy's plans and deter conflict. Revived airfields will be nodes in a futuristic network. Unmanned drones patrol the skies, providing surveillance. Forward bases host cyber and electronic warfare units. AI connects the network, processing data and managing logistics. AI reroutes jets and optimizes resources. Picture a jungle island. Airmen refuel a stealth fighter, a cyber specialist probes networks, a drone monitors a naval flotilla. Coordinated by AI, this force operates inside the enemy's zone, a lean, lethal, technologically advanced force. The strategy affects sovereign Pacific nations. Local communities feel hope and anxiety. Economic benefits versus social and environmental impact. Environmental concerns, jet fuel spills, noise, habitat destruction, social tensions, foreign troops' presence. China offers economic development through its Belt and Road Initiative. Nations face a dilemma, wary of China but need infrastructure. A tug of war for influence. Some play both sides, but pressure to choose grows. The revival of airfields is about the hearts and minds of the Pacific. The strategy rests on deterrence. Show a resilient military posture to deter aggression. But the security dilemma looms. Defensive moves seen as offensive threats. China might see U.S. bases as provocation. Risk of miscalculation is high. An arms race spiral could ensue. Each side builds up forces, leading to conflict. The psychological dimension is crucial. The revival of airfields is a major bet. Will it stabilize the region or light the fuse for conflict? We stand on a knife's edge. China flexes its muscles, claiming its place in the world. The US adapts, turning forgotten runways into fortresses. The plan: disperse, survive, deter. But it raises stakes and potential flashpoints. Local nations are caught in the middle. Technology accelerates war, shrinking decision windows. The final question: will these runways deter aggression or start World War III? The world holds its breath and waits.